All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of Marriage Matters with Ken and Shar. Glad you're in with us today. How you doing, babe?
Doing good. Enjoying this nice, cool weather.
Yeah. Good day today, yeah?
Yeah, great day.
We're having a ball. Yes, went to a Bible study this
To a
morning.
Bible study.
I had a prayer meeting early with some guys.
Yeah, and I got to go to lunch with a friend, and now looking outside is so pretty.
It's beautiful right now.
With the breeze blowing, and it's nice finally.
Don't you love this time of year?
The fall is coming. I'm so excited.
We live in a part of California, the Central Valley, that gets really, really hot. So when this seasonal change comes as we scoot our way slowly into fall, it feels so
We're really ready for it.
Yeah,
so it's starting to get really pretty and nice. The leaves are
early
starting
in the morning,
to turn.
Get a little sweatshirt on, right?
Yes.
Yeah, a cup of coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Well, glad you're in with us. We're going to kind of continue to tool you up here. That's kind of what we love to do. It's how we look at what Marriage Matters is all about, is getting tools in your bag. So what you build really does glorify God. It's for His glory and for your highest good.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a pretty important tool, wouldn't you say? I mean, you miss this one, you miss a lot.
Yep. I agree. I agree with this one.
Little history lesson. In 1519, Hernan Cortez, a Spanish conquistador, arrived in North America, what is now Mexico. The expedition, as it became more and more difficult, Cortez realized that his men had one eye out in the bay, eyeing the ships that were out there, wishing to go home. And he commanded his men at a point in time to simply burn the ships. That's what we're calling this episode, burn the ships. And obviously he did it because the mission that they were on was getting compromised. Mm-hmm. The harder it got, and their mission was to travel to the interior of Mexico and explore this new world. And the mission was ready to be abandoned by most of his men. The harder it got, the more their hearts wandered out into the bay, and they desired to get back on their ships, abandon the mission, and go home.
So how long were they when this?
Oh, he did it pretty quick. It happened pretty quick.
I would think so, because if they hadn't got into the interior of Mexico yet, they were still hanging out and looking at the ships.
And obviously they did. And
they burned them?
Great cost. They burned them, all but one. They did it at great cost. I mean, this was no easy mission they were on. They had left their families and homes and were committed. And but as things get harder, let's face it, you know, enduring difficult things over a long period of time, we're just not very good at that.
No,
right?
I'm horrible at it.
So the design here today, or the point being, for so many of even God's people that should know more about the design of God for marriage, we're kind of shocked every day that we bump into people that honestly have no clue that the covenant that they are in, the covenant of marriage, is permanent by God's design. I was thinking about, just before we got started with the episode, that our culture has drifted so far from where it was just 200 years ago. In a very brief period of time, we have almost redefined what our culture, or how it thinks and operates, to the point that you don't have to look very far now to find some young person, maybe a Gen Zer, who has no clue what Easter is, or no clue what Christmas is, what other than the giving of gifts and having a party. So the major holidays marking the most significant cultural ideology being built on a Judeo-Christian thought is gone. They don't even know why Easter, why we have that holiday, right? No. Well, when it comes to marriage, you don't have to look very far to find someone, maybe even a professing follower of Jesus, who still has a ship out in the harbor. And they have not made the commitment or understood the design of God to be that we don't retreat from our troubles in marriage. They will become difficult. There's no doubt that marriage is built to be difficult on our flesh, to shape us and mold us into the image of Christ. There's a selflessness about it. All of that, I believe, is by design. if you still got a ship out there in the harbor and it starts getting difficult, we see over and over and over again people abandoning the mission, the call of God in their married life, who never really burned the ship.
Right.
There was always a back door clearly open. Culturally in America, just a little bit of just fun facts here, not fun facts, but facts. In 1969, Ronald Reagan was the first in California to sign a state law for no-fault divorce. Up until it actually went in action in 1970. It was written in 1969, but up to before that, you had to prove a reason that your marriage was untenable, couldn't survive. And that would be adultery or abandonment, those horrible issues that, because human beings are broken, they do occur. But for whatever reason, and we could hypothesize forever of why everyone was so eager to go here, but he signed into law that you don't have to have a reason. Irreconcilable differences was enough. One person could decide, I don't want this anymore, and they can break that contract. That is a legal contract. I mean, it's recorded legally in halls of records. It provides for different tax statuses and other things. It is a legal contract. But from 1970 on in California, the rest of the country over the next 7 or 8 years followed suit. Interesting enough, the last state to sign a no-fault divorce law on their books was New York.
Wow.
They were the holdout, and only in 2010 did
You're
they.
Kidding.
No.
So how did they get divorces?
They had to prove. They had to,
Or go to another state?
Yep.
Can you go to another state and get a divorce?
So,
wow.
Yeah. So it took a while, but eventually the whole country went there, just in terms of the drift. What we're talking about is just a culture that once was deeply committed to the worship of God, the knowledge of God, the gospel of Christ.
Or at least commitment to family.
Sure.
Even if they weren't committed to Christ.
Right.
Committed to the family and their children.
Yeah. It's drifted so far now that eventually every state in the country followed suit. So again, this is a drift that has not served us well, and really Marriage Matters exists to encourage people to get back to God's design. And in that regard, any right theology for marriage must include the permanence of your marriage covenant.
I remember when we were in our early married years, and we would get into a fight, I guess.
Sure.
Argument.
Heated fellowship.
Frustration.
Yeah.
And I remember in my mind, I would always say, well, you're married. There's nowhere you're going to go. So we got to work this out. We're married.
So we gotta move forward.
I'm really glad that I came into the marriage with a permanent idea. I was taught that as young. And I felt that. I knew it was by God's design. Now, I remember my mom having some issues with me marrying you because you did come from a family that was divorced. And
that worried her.
It worried her because she thought, will he have that idea that that's okay, that he can leave this marriage because this is what he was raised with? And I never felt that you did because of Christ. But I remember saying, there's nowhere I can go. I've got to stick this out, even though it seems hard and difficult. This is for my whole life.
Yeah. Well, again, to reiterate, just because something's hard and difficult doesn't mean it's not from the Lord. I mean, right?
Yeah. So look at life.
They do get hard and difficult. They do. The busyness of a married life and raising children, the economic ebbs and flows. I mean, there are pressures in life.
It is.
This does get hard.
The mundaneness of it.
Yeah.
Of over and over and over again. And
sure.
Same person.
Yep.
Same issues.
Yep.
And you just have to
press on.
You have to press on.
Yep.
Plus, if you're not happy, then let's do something about it.
That's the point. Right? So from the beginning, marriage has been permanent for the lifespan of the husband and the wife. You see it first show up, that idea of permanence, in Genesis 2, in the very first mention of marriage. And the rib, let me read it from Genesis 2:22. The rib that the Lord God had taken from the man, he made into a woman and brought her to the man. And the man said, this is really like nothing I've ever seen. This is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Therefore, because that is true, it's saying that's what that therefore means. Because that is true, they are one. A man shall leave father and mother, hold fast to his wife. Some translations have it be joined to his wife. I think the King James has it cleave was the best English word they had at the time. Cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. That just oozes with a sense of permanence. In fact, the word there, hold fast, that original word there means to adhere to, sticky, like to stick to. If we could use the word weld, be welded to your wife. There is a sense of permanence to that word there. It means to join. Cleave was actually a great translation of that word, or adhere to. It's really interesting. There's a point in Matthew's gospel in the 19th chapter where Jesus refers back to that verse in Genesis 22. That's what he quotes when he's being challenged by some Pharisees about marriage and divorce, the issue of divorce. And in those verses in Matthew 19, verse 3, right in there, 3, 4, 5, maybe up to verse 10, he says there that Moses, you're right, did permit divorce, but only because of the hardness of the human heart. But he tags on to that these words, but in the beginning, it was not so. So this is really interesting because that
I really haven't heard
that little bit in Matthew, it's Matthew 19, 3 through 8. What you realize is they were drifting too. They were drifting. They were finding ways to divorce, and they had abandoned original design. They had ships in the harbor too, and were hitting them hard, right? So Jesus had to remind them, in the beginning, it was not so. Now he goes on to make it clear that Moses's allowance in the Old Testament law of the Jews that allowed divorce was only in cases of gross sexual breakdown where a violation of the covenant had occurred through adultery. But even then, the ability not to survive that has to do with even the human heart gets hardened. The wound is so deep. So, and I don't want to turn this into a treatment of those verses, but only to say that from the very beginning it's very clear in God's design, family, that marriage is permanent. It's for the life of the man and the woman who make that covenant together. And you may be thinking, well, why are Ken and Shar covering that simple? Doesn't everybody know that? That's the problem. No.
Well, I disagree.
Do you really?
I think that most Christians do know that it's permanent, except when it starts getting really hard.
Well, yeah.
We make allowances and we start getting our excuses, and then we start acting in ways that are not for the marriage, but against the marriage. And then things do happen.
Well, did they ever believe at that point?
No, I do. I think most people would say, this
is for life.
This is for life.
Sure.
I think on their wedding day, they're not thinking.
Well, you're right. I've done a lot of weddings, hundreds, and I've never had anybody's vow sound like this. I promise to love you and honor you, cherish you, till something better comes along.
I'm bored.
Or till I'm bored, or till it's hard. You're right. That vow is never said.
They think that. It's easy to say those things. It's a lot harder to live it.
Right.
For the rest of your life.
Well, okay, now to our point today, the analogy of the ships and Cortez's men. If there's no ship out in the harbor,
right,
you can only go forward. Exactly. And I'm sitting here. We do these episodes at a desk in my office, so we're looking at each other as we're talking, and I know when I look at you, though, like any couple, it's a challenge, right, to love, honor, and cherish day in and day out, to not wound one another. We've stubbed our toe plenty of times. But honestly, there's never been one moment where the answer wasn't to move through our problems, get past our problems, solve our problems. The Lord will hear us. I don't think there's ever been a moment where a ship looked attractive to me. The back door was open.
Well, what looks attractive is not to have conflict.
Right.
Not to be stuck in an area of conflict over and over and over and over, and you can't seem to move through it. That you don't want.
Right.
But to turn around and say, I'm going back to my old life and I want to be single and it would be better than what I'm enduring now, I think neither of us felt that was the answer. First of all, because of our walk with the Lord.
Absolutely.
And our testimony, and we had a family.
That's why I write Theology for Marriage. Right. Understanding how God designed it is so important.
A lot of things held us together, but neither of us wanted just to sit and endure it and be unhappy.
No.
We wanted to move through it. That's the couples we're talking to today.
Yeah.
To sit and just endure it and say, oh, well, we just have to endure it to the day we die because we committed this. That's not what we're advocating.
Great point.
We're advocating, no, burn the ship.
Right.
And move forward into the life that God has for you. And become what he wants you to be, have your marriage be what he wants it to be. And it will be fulfilling to you and also an example to the world around you and a blessing to your children and their children.
Yeah. The goal is not survival.
No.
It's not, it is not, the goal of a married life isn't to simply not divorce.
No,
let's be clear. It's to experience the fullness and richness that God designed it for in our lives.
I do want to say something. I know that some of you that might be listening to this are in a hard marriage, really hard marriage, and it might not be on your account. You're married to a hard person. And your life, as you're listening, you're going, my life could never turn around that way because of this person I'm married to, which I know plenty of those people. And all you can say to those people is to hang in there and hold on to Jesus as tight as you can and fulfill your marriage vows. Because some people are unwilling to change and go with you and have that marriage. Either they're unwilling or they're unable, who knows what. But that's the tough ones.
Even those marriages that can be so difficult when one partner is stuck, doesn't want to get better, doesn't want.
Right.
Even that marriage, dear ones, can be really glorifying to God.
It can.
How you handle your vow, how you manage your business, just as you dig deeply into the grace of God, it's amazing what he will do in your life and glorify himself in your life. And
we've seen plenty of that. It's sad in a way because that partner is kind of stuck.
Sure.
But they're not stuck in going forward with the Lord and having a completely abundant life minus the part of their marriage that they wish they had.
Yeah.
And that's a hard one.
Yeah.
It is.
The great hope is that any couple listening that is in difficult times, that two at the same time wake up and go, look, let's call on the Lord, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. There are two truths kind of side by side here. One is that marriage is permanent as God designed it to be for a man and wife. Secondly, marriage is hard. Okay.
That everyone knows.
Right. Now that makes it so what are people to do when it's hard and the ships are burned, right?
Yeah.
You go forward. And we're going to list three things here that are just really simple. This is almost self-explanatory, but number one, remain committed. Again, we said this, I think, in the last episode or one before, that confusion and commitment can't possess the same space. In my heart, if I'm committed to our future together, no matter what, if that is a commitment we both have made, then we will never be confused
about where we're going.
We're going forward.
We're going forward together.
We're going to fix it. That's what we do. But if my commitment falters or wanes and one eye begins to wander out to the ship in the harbor that I've never burned, at that point, confusion will come in like a flood. It will flood the heart of any man or any woman. The solution to confusion about your future with your wife or your husband, the antidote to confusion, if you're in that spot today, is commitment. Regain your commitment today, right now, even as we're speaking. Renew your commitment to one another and to the high design of God for your marriage life. That includes rejecting the cultural drift, the slide that says it's not permanent.
Right.
When you think about it, when those laws were passed for no fault, that no fault issue, I just think that was such a tragic thing. What even the government is saying is that you don't have this. You can make that contract, right, but it's a contract you get to break anytime you want. It doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't.
Now your car loan, you can't break that. You sign that one. Your mortgage, you can't break that contract.
Right.
But the contract of marriage, the government says, guys, look, come on. You can break it anytime for any reason. You don't even have to have a reason. And there's nothing your partner can do about it. Is that the weirdest thing ever? We have lawyers to defend every kind of contract there is, except this one.
Well, we have lawyers that'll help you break your contract.
They'll help you. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just a really weird thing that's happened with us here. But so number one, renew your commitment, and any confusion you have will take flight. Number two, cry out to the Lord together. Call on the Lord. Really ask God to help you. By that, I mean, I know that's Bible language, cry out to the Lord. What we're saying is just grab each other by the hands, if you're a believer, and ask God to help you.
And will people really do that?
I'm hoping.
Because that's where
breakthrough comes.
I know it does. But
that's where breakthrough comes.
If you're committed, that's where you'll go. When you know you're committed, that is where you go.
Oh, yeah.
If you can't do that, you still haven't burned the ships.
Yeah. He promises to hear. The word says, if any man calls on the name of the Lord, he shall be saved or rescued or delivered. That's a promise. That doesn't just in reference to redemption or salvation. Right. I mean, I've been in plenty of difficult situations where I've called on the Lord to rescue me, even from myself, from attitudes or of the heart or confusion in my own life.
That's a daily thing for me.
Lord, rescue me.
Please,
Lord, help me.
From my heart.
That's it. So number one, burn the ship, remain committed, get ready to press on into the interior where new things can be discovered. Number two, cry out to the Lord together. He promises to hear you. And then number three, get some help, get some encouragement. Call a pastor at your church, call a great friend.
Call someone that has the marriage that you know that you want to emulate and say, will you help us?
That's right. Start meeting with us. Get in a small group. Get in a marriage group. Do something to
teach Sunday school together.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I know. Start serving the Lord together.
Yeah. Make your marriage the priority that God makes it.
Yeah.
And I think that then you start seeing some breakthrough.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be by just sitting around and doing nothing.
No. There's a journey, there's a mission, there's a mission involved here in marriage. It is to land, right? Get married, and then that marriage reflect the wonder and the beauty, the majesty of the love of God, and the unconditional love of God is so reflected in married life. He talks about that in Ephesians chapter 5. He's talking about Christ in the church and the visible testimony that it bears, the love of God bears when marriage is healthy, and how it reflects the Lord and his love to the world around us. And that's the ultimate mission. It's also for our highest good. In it, we experience our highest good. It's not good that man is alone.
Right.
These are all Bible declarations of why marriage exists and the high call of marriage. And the only way, again, is to burn the ships, dear ones, stay committed and keep pressing on that mission and don't abandon it.
And we realize the mission is tough.
Yep.
I really want to reiterate that. This mission is tough, of a lifelong marriage together.
Yep.
That's fulfilling and happy.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yep.
It has to be taken by force. It will not just happen.
Yeah.
And unless you're willing to go there, you will not have it. You will not.
That's a great lead into our next episode, which is called The Intentional Marriage, Living the Intentional Marriage, because, man, it does take a lot of intentionality, right?
A lot.
But this little tool today, as simple as it is, it's just reiterating that God's design includes permanence for you and your husband or you and your wife.
And then when you're in these arguments, if you have ever stated that you're going to go back and you just leave me or I'm going to leave you, when there's no ship to go to and you've burned it, you'll never say it again.
Never.
Because you're going forward no matter what.
It's a great point, babe. I mean, I would love to just pull how many people out there in a heated moment, in a moment
lot of people.
Of woundedness and hurt have said, I'm out.
And what your
I'm
spouse
punching the ticket.
And what that does to a spouse that is in it forever, for life.
Right.
It makes them very insecure and feel very vulnerable.
Well, what it reflects too is that you never burn the ships.
Right. And you're not.
And
they can't trust what you say because you said you never would do that.
Right.
And so on your wedding day.
So if you've ever said that, that may reveal that in the deep place of that one's heart, that ship is still out there in the harbor. And man, I would just love if everybody today, right now, just lets that one sail, closes that back door,
make a commitment,
and makes a commitment. Again, we're not talking about serial adulterers and abandonment and abuse. We're talking about the common challenges of marriage, how it can grind on your flesh. You have to give yourself up, learn to serve the other, even greater than yourself, love at great cost. These are all things that marriage teaches us and works in us.
And those are the things when there is no abandonment, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, abuse, and adultery. But these are the other things that can kill a marriage. Just no intentionality.
Yep.
And those are the things we usually fight over.
Yeah.
It's the little things.
Commonly. Yep.
Over and over, the selfishness in our own heart and the lack of attention and care that we give each other.
Right.
Just as you're married, you know what you guys fight about. It's not about usually those big things.
Sure.
Those things,
they do exist. They deal
exist
with them.
And they're difficult to go through and you need help through those. These are just the little things that you just go over and over and over. And pretty soon you look at each other and go, I'm not committed. I don't know what's going on here, but I'd rather be alone than this. Right. And that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah. Burn that ship.
Burn it. Say, we're never going to go back. So we're going to go forward no matter what.
Refresh your commitment, cry out to God, and get some encouragement, get some help.
Yep.
You'll find things turning very, very quickly. Yeah? All right. This was fun.
This was.
Hey, thanks for letting us talk about a really important thing today. This was a big tool to get in the bag. And we hope that everybody listening
makes that commitment.
Totally.
Even together.
Understands God's design.
Maybe when you're in unity and doing really well and you pray together the next time, give that to the Lord and make that commitment together. We're burning our ships. We're never going to mention it.
Yep.
We're going forward no matter what.
Yep. All right. Great day. Love you, babe.
Love you too.
All right. Thanks for listening in. And until next time, God bless you all.
God bless you.